Hi guys, Josh here from Beards and Books, and today I'm doing my July TBR video. Let's begin. Firstly, full disclosure guys, I don't usually do TBRs if I'm honest. I've got quite the collection of books growing. I tend to go by mood more than anything. I don't want to limit myself to specific books and then find that I'm just not in the mood for those. So this is slightly new to me. Any of you out there that do TBRs, if you've got any suggestions on how I could find a way around this without feeling restricted to certain books, it'd be interesting to know. So the first book on my TBR, and the book that I'm currently reading, is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Now I'm sure I don't need to explain this book too much to you guys. This was first released in 1960. It's been on a rerun ever since. It's been reprinted every year. This specific edition is the 2015 edition. For those of you that haven't come across To Kill a Mockingbird before, so the book is set in 1930s in the deep south of America. It touches a lot on racial prejudice, and the story revolves around a white lawyer defending a black man, which at that time was unheard of. I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm only about 50 pages in, so I'm not fully sure of the story myself other than the general outline, but I'm sure I'm going to love it. I'll touch on this more in my July wrap-up video, guys, because I'm sure it won't take me long to get through. So the second book, and the one that I'm looking forward to most, is Game of Thrones Part 5, A Dance with Dragons. This is Part 1. So I finished A Feast for the Crows in June, absolutely loved it as always, and I wanted to go straight back into the Game of Thrones series. I've been spacing out the reads, knowing that the final novel doesn't have a release date as of yet, but the story's building up in such a way I'm finding it impossible to stay away. Game of Thrones is one of the biggest and most well-loved fantasy series to date, obviously on TV and the books. Fantasy fans out there, if you haven't picked it up, please do. It will be the best thing you ever read. Now I've got two more books that I definitely want to get to in July, with Game of Thrones and To Kill a Mockingbird both being quite serious, heavy topic books. I wanted to go for something a little bit lighter for my next two reads. Book number 3, The Ask and the Answers, which is the second book in the Chaos Walking trilogy. So I personally am a massive fan of the Chaos Walking trilogy. I've only read part 1, The Knife of Never Letting Go, but I was obsessed with it. I was so surprised at how much I could love a YA book, how emotionally invested I could be. A book's never made me cry, but this one came 100% the closest. I won't tell you why if you haven't read it yet. It's definite spoiler. So The Ask and the Answers, for those of you that don't know, is set in a dystopian world in the future where humans have been forced to leave Earth. On the planet they've landed on, there's a virus that infects the men of the country and of the planet, essentially meaning that their thoughts are projected from their mind. So whatever I'm thinking now, if you're standing next to me, you would be able to hear. Obviously, that leads to a lot of thoughts that shouldn't be said out loud being aired and a lot of questions being raised. So we follow the same two main characters in The Ask and the Answers as The Knife of Never Letting Go, Tom and Viola. I haven't started this yet, so I'm not fully aware of the plot. I understand it's just going to carry on from the first book, exactly where it left off. I won't tell you where in case you haven't read it. Sci-fi fantasy fans out there, if you haven't picked this one up, definitely do. It's an emotional ride, an emotional read with great characters set in a great dystopian world. You will not regret it. So the fourth book that I definitely want to get to in July is Raven's Gate, The Power of Five by Anthony Horowitz. If you saw my June wrap-up video or my James Bond review video, you'll have seen that I read Forever and a Day by Anthony Horowitz. I really enjoyed his writing style and I wanted to see how he would work in a YA-styled book. I tried to avoid reading up too much on The Power of Five. I understand it's a series, I think it's 4 or 5 books, and I know it centres around the occult, human sacrifices and such. I believe the story is one main character trying to escape a cult. I don't know too much more than that, but if there are any of you out there that have read The Power of Five and you really enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, what was wrong with it? Again, let me know. Maybe save me the time. So those are the 4 books that I definitely want to get to in July, and I will 100% finish those if I finish them early, as my reading has sped up lately, especially since getting on BookTube. I have another 2 books that I'm not going to say backups because they're both going to be brilliant books, but they're the ones I will pick next. Those are The Martian and Trigger Mortis. So Trigger Mortis is the other James Bond novel by Anthony Horowitz. As I just touched on, I really enjoyed his writing style and I enjoyed the direction he took James Bond, so I thought I would definitely try this one as well. They're the only James Bond novels I will have read, and I don't see myself going back to read the old style books, but I'm definitely going to read any by Anthony Horowitz. And finally, The Martian by Andy Weir. This is one I've meant to pick up for a long, long time. It's one of the best rated sci-fi books around. Originally released chapter by chapter as an online only book, it built such a cult following. It was then picked up for a movie, which Matt Damon, as you can see, his beautiful face, starred in. The film's absolutely brilliant. I'm really intrigued to see how this one's done. A story of one man left stranded on Mars when his space team, his astronaut team, think that he's died. Great story, great plot. If the book's half as good as the film, I'm sure I'm going to love it, and I will let you know in my July wrap-up. Guys, a massive thank you for watching my video. So that is my July TBR. I will hopefully get through all of those, no problem. As I said, I've got at least 4 that I want to do, with another 2 backups just in case. But what are your plans for July, guys? Are there any specific books that you definitely want to get to? Meet me down in the comments and let me know. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.